So I'm at my school library right now because a lot of the books I'm going to be talking about are at the library and I don't have my ID card to check them all out. And like 5 of the books are from the library, so renting them just for this video would be kind of ridiculous. But anyway, I'll be talking a little softly because we're in the library, don't talk too loud. So yeah, ever since I made my 10 best books video, it's really changed a lot, and I think I have to update it a little bit. But right now I have an all-new top 10 for 2015, if you read the title. They're all right here. But I know that it's just September, and there are a lot of books that I'm kind of looking forward to that would probably make this list, but hey, I've liked a lot of books this year, and I really wanted to point out some of these while I could. I was thinking of just making it a top 12 or something, but I feel a top 10 would be a bit more suitable for you guys. I may do another video at the end of the year in case the list changes, but probably not. So anyway, let's start the countdown. So number 10 is a tie between a series and this book right here. But let's start with this, the Lunar Chronicles, with Cinder, Scarlet, and Cress. Yeah, I think this series is very underrated. Yeah, if you look at this cover, it wasn't really my type, so I was just looking for something to hate on, and it turns out this book made this entire series my main read for a little while. I actually read the last 200 pages of Cress in like 2 hours, and yeah, these books seem to have beginnings that kind of stretch, but endings that make this unputdownable, and they're all pretty nice roller coaster rides. Very good fairy tale retellings. And yes, there is a little bit of romance, but it focuses more on science fiction so that it doesn't taste like lipstick all the time. Trust me, I'm really excited for winter, and you should definitely read the Lunar Chronicles, whether you're a girl or a boy, even if it looks like a girl's series. So they're tied with this book, Rebel by Amy Tintera. Remember my best book list? The first installment to this was number 9 in the series. So I guess it's no surprise that I like this one too. I didn't like it as much as the first reboot. I kind of wish it wasn't a duology, because I guess I just prefer trilogies. Ren and Callum in this book, they're both sweethearts. In Reboot, it focused more on the development of Ren, and now they're both terrific characters, and they're living a rebellious life, I suppose, hence the title. But there was this one scene that made the book for me. I expected the characters to get captured, like they always do, and they didn't. Plus, it also looked at both sides to committing murder. It's hard for a book to do that. So taking the number 9 spot is a book that I found out by the radio that my mom recommended it to me, Life or Death. I would never have found out about this book had it been for the radio, because it's in the adult section. It's about 430 pages, but I read it in less than a week. Yeah, I just couldn't put this down. Even though it wasn't the thriller I was expecting it to be, it was instead a drama, a mystery. It still had its thrills. It was so honest about the justice system. It's about a man who escapes from jail the day before his release after 10 years of hard labor with the inmates and the guards alike. And oh my god, just so many surprises, so many great characters. This was one of those times where there was a mystery that I actually figured it out before the characters did. And when you have a mystery in a book, it's good to have a mystery like that you can solve yourself, so that it's not too complicated and you can prove yourself that you really like the book. And if this book gets made into a movie, I want to play the role of Max, just personally. And coming in at number 8 is a book that I kind of picked up just because of a class that I really didn't like, that I took last year. Itch, The Explosive Adventures of an Element Hunter by Simon Mayo. It makes chemistry so interesting that I feel that in the future, if this becomes popular enough, criminals can use this to give police some allergies or to make smoke bombs of their own or something. Because this book is so much more than just a story of boring chemistry, as you may put it. This makes chemistry interesting. I wish I had read this before I did chemistry class, because I would have gotten into it already knowing half of what I learned. I like how it's actually not about something itchy like fungus. It's about a boy my age named Itch. It's very scientific, it's inspirational. I think it actually tells a story that's not too far-fetched if a rock similar to the one he found was made. And actually had a good mystery to it, something I really wasn't expecting. A mystery at the end that will definitely keep me turning the pages in the 2 sequels. Well done, Simon Mayo. I might read this book again. It's so good. So coming in at number 7 is Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. I was a little doubtful about this book at first, mostly because I saw it everywhere, and it was from the same publishing company that published a book I really didn't like that is probably going to make my 10 worst books of 2015 list. But wow, I mean, it was pretty much more action-packed than just about any other book I read this year. And instead of making it a world that must be stopped, it's a story about a world that has been stopped, about a society where people with the most power can do whatever they want, be as naughty as they can be. And this book shows this world in such an impressive way. It has a very unique way of showing rebels too. There's not a single character that's not important. I felt that it was kind of like a post-Michael Bay world in which the Elgin won and the only remaining rebels are a few teenage nerds who have to become stunt performers. I think Brandon Sanderson has a really understandable knowing for guns as well. And I really didn't see the ending coming at all. You're not gonna see the ending. Just like I didn't see the ending in Life or Death or anything. No, I'm definitely gonna finish this series. The next one's called Firefight, and the next one's after that's Calamity, which comes out next year. Look forward to that one. Now, coming in at number 6 is a book that I have at home somewhere, but I just couldn't find it. It's by my friend Sarah Walker, her debut novel, Catching a Sorcerer. Book 1 in the Melantha Caldwell series. And I guess I had relatively high expectations just because she's my friend, and it met all of them. I was actually contemplating whether I should give this a perfect score of 4 stars or a 3.5. It was kind of hard. It was just right in the middle it was almost perfect. Because, the fantasy genre is a genre I have a few mixed feelings about. Sometimes they resort to a little bit too much crude humor and sometimes don't utilize the fact that they have magic. And Sarah Walker's Catching a Sorcerer was straight to the point. It was very original. It had some very nice characters, like this ogre Thorn, this cricket named Paul. It was like Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy. He was the perfect side hero. An interesting side story about this boy Vincent. And the girl Melantha, or Mel, is probably the most relatable character I've read about all year. I related to her just as much as, well, I don't want to spoil it for you. In the next few books I'll be saying which book gave me the most relation, but I think Catching a Sorcerer would be tied for it. And I just can't wait for Catching a Demon. Keep writing, Sarah, and let me know when Catching a Demon comes out. I'll buy it for any price. Now coming in at number 5 is Silo by DJ McHale. I really should read more of his work. This involved a quarantine and having to not be able to escape from anywhere. And Another book series that sort of had the quarantine was No Safety in Numbers, which, as you may remember, is one of the worst books I've ever read. And there was also the Lunar Chronicles involving the plague and a little hint of escaping, which made Marissa Meyer one of my favorite authors. So I was a little skeptical about reading Silo, but I knew it would probably be an interesting read. The main praise is absolutely unputdownable, more exciting than an Xbox and a roller coaster combined, and boy, it lives up to that hype. It was like another Maze Runner, but even better, and I liked the first one. It's maddening. It really shows how you would probably feel if you were stuck on an island that was like a giant Alcatraz that was now looking for you. You really feel scared, just like the characters. I never knew what was going to happen. Every chapter was ginormously entertaining. I could hardly put it down. It just reminded me of all the reasons why I like a book. Now, coming in at number 4 is a book that I read as an ebook. Remember Joe Ducey's The Rig, or Ducey, however you say his last name? I don't know. Well, The Rig is probably to this day still my favorite prison escape ever, and on my website, Weldon Witness, it was the first book that got 4 stars out of 4. So the second that I was able to read Crystal Force, I read it and I loved it. I maybe liked it just as much as the first installment, which is why it makes its way into 4th place. I had very high expectations because after escaping from a huge jail, I wanted the characters to be more than just on the run. I wanted them to feel joy. I wanted them to feel hope. I wanted them to do what they got out to do. And they did so perfectly, finally. The characters can feel joy, we do too. And it has a little Escape from Furnace similar subplot that actually turns into the main plot, and I wasn't expecting it. I was a little worried it would take over the whole thing, take over the fun, and it didn't. It stuck to its roots. It reminded me of all the fun I had watching Ben 10 Diamond Head, but Crystal Force gave off every reason to read the next installment without going overboard with it and leaving us disappointed and hoping the next one would be better. No, just I don't know what else to say. It was exciting. It was weird. It was intense. It never cut down. Now, I don't know if meeting an author makes my opinion a little biased or something, but number 3 is Witchlanders by Lena Coakley. I met her in grade 10 when she came to this very library, and it took me like a year till I picked up her debut novel. Well, actually, I don't know if it's her debut, but whether or not it is, Lena Coakley is definitely a new star in the fantasy firmament, says O.R. Melling, author of the Chronicles of Fairy series. I don't know if she's going to write a sequel to this, but let me just say that I really want more, because I loved every moment of this book. I never really thought about singing as a superpower before until now. It was so original. It kind of brought out a new fantasy part of me. Like, the thought of Witchlanders versus the Bane and setting up rituals with bones and these gods Ate and Asa, just the way Lena Coakley handled all of that was just perfect. And something that I thought was incredible was there was a character who just refused to talk because of her beliefs or something, and the main character, Ryder, was giving her a hard time, and I was just waiting for the moment that she would talk and just stop being so annoying. And when she did, I actually felt so sorry for her. Like, I felt so bad that I ever thought that she was annoying, because it was kind of sad how she kind of kept up a record for not talking, and she just had to open her mouth. It's kind of like going back to meat after being a vegan. Witchlanders gave me the subject personally and made me feel a bit like a bully for ever thinking so. And it was humongously entertaining too, just like Catching a Sorcerer. Yeah. Um, and if she makes a sequel, which should probably be called Bane, Baen, then I'm probably going to love that one too. Now, coming in at number 2 is a book that is based on a movie, and usually movies are based off of books. But I think this is what made the book even better. This is Struck by Lightning by Chris Colfer of Glee. I laughed, and I rarely laugh when I'm reading, but this book made me laugh out loud so much. I related to it so much, even though the main character was very cynical. I sort of related to him and thought back to when I was bullied and thought about how mad I'd be compared to him. I'd probably be even more mad. He loves writing like me. He understands that people these days don't want to write unless it's 140 characters or less. And I could see myself in Carson's shoes for every single page. And whenever I wasn't relating to it with its unforgettable spirit, I was captivated. I was laughing out loud. I certainly didn't see the ending coming. And now, after reading just 3 pages to my sister, who never reads, she immediately wanted to read this. There's actually a copy in this library, but this is my own copy. I bought it for her just because I love this book. If I was stuck on an island, I'd want this one with me. And now for number 1.
So taking the number 1 spot.
The book that I love just as much as Michael Bay Rise of the Elgin probably is Prodigy by Murray Liu. This is the sequel to the book Legend, which I gave 3 stars out of 4 on my website. I loved it, but the third act kind of put it down a little bit. And Prodigy is just like Legend, except that third act's not there, and it keeps going even higher. There's so much more tension, there's so much more romance, and I never really thought of romance being this addicting. The relationship between June, Day, and Tess, that love triangle, is probably the best type of love triangle I've ever read. Their relationship was so complicated. Their task was so complicated. It blew me sideways where this book goes all the time. I had no idea who I was going to root for. I had no idea about the twist at the end. I had no idea if this lie detector scene showed us that June was still on the side of the Republic or not, or if she was acting. And I'm not going to spoil the end, but I shed a tear, and this was the only book to make me cry. My heart was thumping hard on every single page. I was so stoked to read Champion, the third book, but actually, I didn't really think it was as good as Legend or Prodigy. I think that just after a book like this, I was expecting a bit of a better conclusion, one that didn't have as much romance, didn't have so many ideas that should have persuaded itself to make a 4th book or something.